Our next book is the debut novel, The Blue Moth Motel by Olivia Robinson. Lisa Moore calls this book luminous, shot through with unexpected transformative beauty. Here is a queer love story alive with intensity. A brilliant new portrait of a family, of sisters, of lovers, of mothers. A remarkable novel about voice, and Robinson's voice is so strong, so true, sparkling like a crystal, as bright can be. She shows how talent can be harrowing and how it can make us whole. This book is magical. Ellie, a digitally lit youth ambassador, said, "This book was like a lullaby. It's one of those that you read for hours without realizing because you become so enveloped in the characters and the storyline." Olivia Robinson is originally from the Annapolis Valley, Nova Scotia, and recently moved from St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador, to Charlottetown, PEI. Her work has appeared in Riddle Fence, Cargo Literary, and the UPEI Arts Review. In 2020, a draft of The Blue Moth Motel was shortlisted for the Newfoundland and Labrador Credit Union Fresh Fish Award. Olivia launched this book in PEI at Beaconsfield Carriage House in collaboration with the Bookmark and UPEI. Please welcome Olivia.
Hello, my name is Olivia Robinson, and I'm going to be reading to you from my novel, The Blue Moth Motel. I'm just going to read from the beginning because that seems like the best place to start. Chapter 1, Lewis, UK, 2013. On Wednesday, I lose my voice. The doctor looks like an anglerfish from the deep sea, the one with its own light dangling over the top of its head. But she is not really like a fish at all, with her close-cropped blonde hair and efficient manner. She examines my vocal cords through a tube in my nose, which makes it tingle and go numb. It bleeds after she removes the tube, and I sit with a tissue pressed to my face while she scribbles in my file. "It's as I suspected," she says as she continues to write. "You'll have to rest for 3 months, no singing, and speak only when absolutely necessary. Marcia will book you a follow-up appointment." I had convinced myself in the couple of months between the initial scratchy feeling in my throat and the increasing hoarseness of my voice that it was only a persistent cold. "Then what?" I say, holding my free hand against my throat. "Well, we might have to consider surgery," the doctor says. She hands me a pad of paper and a golf pencil. "Will I be able to sing again?" "I can't promise you anything," she says, "but try not to worry too much. No more talking now." She removes her head mirror and turns off the light. When she spins around on her chair to face me, I notice her bright green eyes, and she becomes a creature of the sea again. She doesn't look much older than me, mid-20s at most, but she must be, and I wonder when in her life she decided to become a doctor, or if it was decided for her. "Everything will be fine," the doctor says, and I want to ask if anyone ever believes her when she says that. When I moved to the UK at 18 on a 2-year work visa, which has since been extended, it felt like an escape. I know it's a cliché, the desire to leave your younger self behind and become someone different, but if I hadn't left the Blue Moth when I did, it would have held me there in the same way it trapped my sister. Our entire lives were defined by that ramshackle building with its faded blue siding and crumbling swimming pool. I wanted to see something new, be someone new. But I hadn't realized how hard it is to live on your own. I got a job cleaning Airbnbs and an additional job waiting tables at a pub. I auditioned for church choirs and was accepted into the second one I tried out for. I want to move up to a paid soloist position so I can travel and sing with other choirs, but so far that hasn't worked out. I take private lessons twice a week with a Scottish woman who has a small studio space on the second floor of her flat. We work on my breathing and how I can better position my jaw. Sometimes, on the weekends, I perform a short set in the afternoon at the pub where I work and get to keep the tips. The thought of having to tell everyone what has happened makes me want to crawl into bed for a week. Still holding the tissue to my nose, I stand as the doctor opens the door of the examining room. I thank her with a nod of my head and walk down the hallway to the reception area with its green plastic chairs and smell of antiseptic. Marcia, the receptionist, sits behind the desk with a pink cardigan draped over her shoulders. I avoid eye contact and rush down the stairs out into the fresh, early spring air, which holds a hint of rain. There are palm trees in the south of England. People plant them in their gardens, and somehow they survive the winter. This is only one item on a long list of things I have learned about living in the UK, but for some reason it's the one that surprises me the most. I had never seen a real palm tree, so seeing one in the garden of a stone cottage with a thatched roof altered my idea of the place. The winters here are different too. The temperature rarely drops below freezing. What would be considered a dusting of snow in Canada is enough to cancel schools and halt traffic here. I rent a room in a house in Lewis, a town I heard of because of Virginia Woolf. The woman who owns the house, Susan, works as a cleaner too. She helped me get the job cleaning the Airbnbs. Every evening when I return home, she is on the soft green sofa in the kitchen with a glass of wine, watching Strictly Come Dancing or Landscape Artist of the Year. I often join her, accept the offer of a glass of white wine, and sit at the table. Susan sips her wine slowly and sinks deeper into the sofa until she drifts off. We don't know each other very well, but on the evenings when she falls asleep on the sofa, I put a blanket over her before going upstairs to my room. She looks younger and less tired when she's asleep. After leaving the doctor's office, all I want to do is sleep. But it's much too early, barely 3 o'clock, and the bed I'm thinking of isn't the one in my room at Susan's house, but the one I used to share with my older sister Nora at the Blue Moth. There's a difference between a home and home. One is the place you return to most nights. The other is the place to which you feel an obligation. Sometimes they're the same place, but not very often. People try to forget past versions of themselves, but I like to think that pieces of who we were remain in the places we lived, our words lingering in the fabric of the bedroom curtains.